You know that feeling when your favorite player might leave your team? That's what Fever fans are dealing with right now. Caitlin Clark's future in Indiana is up in the air thanks to some crazy WNBA expansion rules. If you're a fan, you're gonna want to hear this. So here's the deal. The WNBA is expanding, and that could mess up Clark's contract with the Fever. Imagine this. New teams can pick players from existing teams, and Clark might be up for grabs. That's insane, right? The rookie who's been lighting up the court could be snatched away just like that. But wait, there's more. There's talk about Clark may be heading to the Phoenix Mercury. You know what's crazier? Some Mercury players are already trying to recruit her. This is huge for Clark, the Fever, and their fans. We're gonna break down all the rules, what it means for Clark's future, and how the Fever might fight to keep their star. Let's get into it. So you're probably wondering, what are these crazy rules that could take Caitlin Clark away from the Fever? Well, let me break it down for you. The WNBA is expanding, and that means new teams are coming in hot. But here's the kicker. These new teams get to pick players from existing teams. Yeah, you heard that right. And imagine this. A brand new team walks in and says, oh, we'll take that superstar rookie, thanks. It's like your friend coming over and snagging your favorite video game. Not cool, right? But that's exactly what could happen with Clark. And here's how it works. These new teams get to have an expansion draft. They can pick one player from each of the 12 teams that are already in the league. But wait, there's a twist. Teams can protect some of their players, keeping them safe from being snatched up. But not everyone gets that protection. And now let's talk about Clark's situation. She's a rookie who's been killing it on the court. But here's the thing. Rookies are prime targets for these new teams. Why? Because they're usually cheaper and have tons of potential. It's like getting a sports car for the price of a used sedan. Who wouldn't want that deal? You know what's even crazier? This isn't the first time something like this has happened. In the past, when new teams joined the league, they went after rookies who were making waves. It's like they have a playbook. Step 1, find the hottest new talent. Step 2, try to steal them. But here's where it gets real for Clark. There's a new team coming to Golden State, and word on the street is they're eyeing this year's rookie class. And guess who's at the top of that list? Yep, our girl Caitlin Clark. She's not alone though. Other standout rookies like Angel Reese are also in the crosshairs. And now you might be thinking, can't the Fever just lock Clark down with a long-term contract? Well, it's not that simple. These expansion rules can throw a wrench in even the best laid plans. The Fever might want to keep Clark, but if they can't protect her in the expansion draft, she could be wearing a different jersey next season. And it's not just about losing a great player. Clark's become the face of the Fever. Fans love her, merch sales are through the roof, and she's bringing in new viewers. Losing her wouldn't just hurt on the court, it'd be a big hit to the whole franchise. But here's the thing. The Fever aren't just going to roll over and let this happen. They're going to fight to keep their star. They know what Clark means to the team and the city. It's like trying to keep your favorite toy when your cousin comes to visit. You're not giving it up without a fight. So what does all this mean for Clark? She's in a tough spot. On one hand, she could stay with the Fever if they figure out how to protect her. On the other, she might end up as the face of a brand new franchise. And don't forget about those Mercury players trying to lure her away. Clark's got options, but man, talk about pressure for a rookie. This whole situation is shaking up the WNBA. It's not just about Clark or the Fever anymore. It's about how these expansion rules could change the whole league. New teams mean new opportunities, but they also mean established teams could lose their stars. It's like a game of musical chairs, but with million-dollar contracts on the line. So let's talk about Caitlin Clark. This rookie's got more drama than a reality TV show right now. She's killing it on the court, but off the court, it's like she's standing at a crossroads with a bunch of different paths, and everyone's trying to tell her which way to go. First up, let's look at how she's been playing. You guys, Clark is not just good, she's breaking records good. In the All-Star game, she dished out 10 assists. That's not just impressive, that's a new record. The Fever hit the jackpot with this one, and they know it. But here's where things get wild. There are whispers that Clark might not be wearing Fever colors for long, and you won't believe who's trying to snatch her up. The Phoenix Mercury. Yeah, you heard that right. They're not being subtle about it either. Imagine this, you're Clark playing in a game, and Sophie Cunningham from the Mercury comes up to you and says, hey, wanna play in Phoenix? That actually happened. It's like they're trying to poach her right on the court. Talk about bold moves. And now you might be thinking, can they even do that? Well, here's where those expansion rules we talked about come into play. If Clark's contract gets voided because of these rules, she could end up as a free agent. And you know what that means? It's open season and every team's gonna be after her. So what's Clark gonna do? She's got options, that's for sure. She could stick with the Fever if they figure out how to keep her, or she could end up as the new face of an expansion team, or maybe she'll take Sophie up on that offer and head to Phoenix. It's like she's holding all the cards, but she doesn't know which one to play. You know what's really crazy about all this? Clark's just getting started in the WNBA. She hasn't even finished her rookie season, and she's already got the whole league shook. Whatever she decides is gonna change everything for her, for the Fever, and for whichever team might snag her. Think about it. If she stays with the Fever, she could become the cornerstone of their franchise for years. If she goes to a new team, she could be the superstar. superstar they build around from day one. And if she ends up with a team like the Mercury, she could be playing alongside some serious WNBA legend. This isn't just about where Clark's gonna play next season, this is about her whole career. The decision she makes now could set the course for the next decade or more, no pressure, right? And let's not forget about the fans. Fever supporters are probably biting their nails right now, hoping their new favorite player doesn't get snatched away, but fans of other teams, they're probably dreaming about Clark suiting up for their squad. So here we are, watching this rookie phenom at a crossroads. She's got the skills, she's got the hype, and now she might have the chance to pick her path. Will she stay loyal to the Fever? Will she be tempted by a fresh start somewhere else, or will she shock everyone and do something completely unexpected? One thing's for sure, whatever Caitlin Clark decides, it's gonna shake up the whole WNBA. This isn't just about one player or one team anymore, it's about the future of the league. And right now, that future is in the hands of a rookie who's barely gotten her feet wet in the pros. Talk about a plot twist. Alright, so we've talked about Clark's options, but what about the Fever? They're not just gonna sit back and watch their star rookie slip away. No way! They're cooking up plans to keep Clark in Indiana, and you won't believe what they might do. Let's talk about the Fever's game plan. First up, they've got this thing called player protection in their playbook. It's like putting a force field around Clark so other teams can't touch her. But here's the catch. They can only protect so many players. It's like picking your favorite toys to save when your cousin comes over. Tough choices, right? Now imagine this. The Fever decide to protect Clark, but that means leaving someone else open for the taking. It's a risky move, but when you've got a player like Clark, sometimes you gotta go all in. But what if they can't protect her? Well, that's when things get really interesting. The Fever might have to get creative. Maybe they'll try to work out a deal with the new teams. Hey, how about you don't pick Clark and we'll give you something else? It's like trading lunches in the cafeteria, but with million-dollar contracts on the line. You know what's crazy? The fans might actually play a big part in all this. Yeah, you heard that, right? The Fever are listening to what their supporters are saying, and let me tell you, Fever fans are not quiet about wanting to keep Clark. It's like they're all shouting, "Don't you dare let her go." But here's where it gets real. If the Fever lose Clark, it's not just losing a player, it's like losing the heart of the team. Fans might get upset, ticket sales could drop, and the whole vibe of the team could change, as it's like if your favorite band lost their lead singer. Just not the same, you know? And get this, some fans are already talking about Clark going to other teams, like the Phoenix Mercury. The Fever's gotta be sweating, hearing all that chatter. It's like your crush talking about going to prom with someone else. Ouch. So what's the Fever gonna do? They've got options, but none of them are easy. They could try to sign Clark to a long-term deal, hoping that'll keep her around even if she gets picked in the expansion draft. Or maybe they'll make some trades to open up space to protect her. It's like a game of chess, but with players instead of pieces. But here's the thing, whatever the Fever decides, it's gonna change everything. If they keep Clark, they've got a superstar to build around for years. If they lose her, they're back to square one. It's like climbing a mountain and then sliding all the way back down. You gotta feel for the Fever. They struck gold with Clark and now they might lose her before she even gets started. It's like finding a winning lottery ticket and then realizing it might not be valid. Talk about a roller coaster. So here we are, watching the Fever scramble to keep their star. Will they pull it off, or will Clark end up wearing different colors next season? One thing's for sure, this fight to keep Clark is gonna be more intense than any game on the court. You know how we've been talking about Clark's wild situation? Well, it's not just about her. This whole mess is shaking up the entire WNBA. Let's talk about what this means for everyone's contracts. Imagine if every player could just jump ship whenever they wanted. Crazy, right? But that's kind of what's happening now. These new expansion rules are like a get out of jail free card for some players. But here's the real kick. The WNBA just signed a massive new TV deal. We're talking billions of dollars. You'd think that'd solve everything, but nope. Some folks are saying it's still not enough. Cheryl Miller even came out and said the league and players are getting lowballed. So what does all this mean for Clark and the rest of the league? It's like we're watching a whole new WNBA being born right in front of us. Players might start making way more money, but they might also be switching teams left and right. It's gonna be wild.